All right, we are live. I am so excited, guys, for this morning. So the last 2 days, we've really focused on mindset and getting everybody's kind of minds realigned. Some of us are on week 2 of this. And so I just wanted to kind of reset, get everyone's mind straight. And now it's time to get back to business. And who better to get us back into systems and operations than the ops bosses? So I asked Stephanie Brackett and Christy Grossman to be on today's call. And this call is going to be solely about systems, what they're seeing in the field, what you're seeing in the field. So we're going to let them talk probably for about the first 5-10 minutes, and then we'll open it up to mastermind around what we're seeing and what we're doing. Just one announcement, or a couple announcements. Monica Keltz is going to be doing shift as an admin as our eyes on ops today inside admin success principles. So join that group so you can watch her. She's been killing it. She is way ahead of the curve on innovation and ideation on what they've been doing in their team. Also, continue to drop examples. I'm getting a lot of feedback that people are loving this group because it's one place they can go to. They can grab things, change it, relogo it, and send it out. And so right now, time is money. And so anything we can do to help people just resystematize very easily, because there's so much information out there. So Christy, Stephanie, I'm going to let y'all take it from here.
Cool. Awesome. Steph, why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, Stephanie Brackett, COO of Anderson Hicks Group out of Idaho Falls, Idaho. Many of you know Mike Hicks, who's the father of the promise. He is one of our owners on our team.
Cool. And I'm Christy Grossman. I'm the owner of Ops Boss Coaching, and my background is 25 years as COO of the Belt team. And so we thought we would share with you just kind of like what we're seeing as common questions in our coaching calls. Also, Steph has boots on the ground. As you guys all know, she's like systems queen. So Steph, do you want to start, or you want me to start?
Sure. I can. It's funny because this is the time when everybody finds out if their systems are as good as they thought they were, right? Everybody goes remote and suddenly you're like, oh crap, my system doesn't work remotely, or oh man, this didn't work as anticipated. And so what I'm seeing is people are really figuring out what systems are working for them and what systems are not working for them. And now that we have some quarantine time, it's a great time to get those systems that aren't working back up. I know myself, I had something on a someday maybe list for like the past 2 years. It was our literal last physical piece of paperwork that we used in our business. Everything else was electronic, and we had these buyer-seller interviews that get handed off from an ISA to an agent and then back to ops. And electronically in my head, that just didn't make sense because it was being handed off 3 to 4 times per paper. And
you just muted yourself, I think.
I'm not muted.
Oh, there we go. You're back.
That was weird. I wasn't muted. Where did I get to before it went out?
Talking about paperwork. Tell us about your job form thing that you did.
Yep. And so in 2 hours, we had a solution to this problem that we had been on my list for 2 years. So this quarantine and this working remotely has really forced people to take a really good look at their systems.
Yeah, I was looking back in Shift yesterday. God, isn't that just the best book ever? I loved it actually before we hit the shift because it's just good basic business. But on page 47, it says, no more paperwork for paperwork's sake, no more filing for filing's sake, no more detail for detail's sake, complexity kills. So this is like our opportunity to like totally just streamline everything. So all those agents who have been giving you resistance about doing jot forms and doing online handoffs and all of that stuff, now is our opportunity to pounce and make it all like super simple. The other statement I thought was really good on that chapter was, what is the least you have to do now so you can get the most done? So we want to keep thinking simple in our systems. So tell us about the jot form integration that you did this week, Steph.
So what I had was a PDF form that was just, I mean, when someone called to set an appointment, you'd grab this piece of paper and it had all the questions and all the notes, and you could write everything down, and it had all the critical steps that had to happen to track the data in our database. We're tracking heavy. Everybody knows that. So the date the lead came in, the date that we set the appointment on, the date that we set the appointment for, it was every critical thing, the source that we needed. And it was formatted in a way that was easy to fill out. And then it got handed off to an agent, and the agent went on the appointment and came back and dropped it back off. And then we had other things to log as the appointment happened and everything. And so I just did a little research. I was thinking like Adobe or whatever. And I was like, oh, I don't want another system. I do not want another program in the mix. So I went on to Jotform, and I thought there's got to be a way in Jot that I already use all the time to make this happen. And sure enough, they had a beta program where you can take any Jot and actually put it onto a PDF. And so they're just filling out the Jot, and it's filling in the PDF form for them electronically. And then they're just sent, that email shoots automatically. The second my ISA set an appointment, the agent has an email and it says, you have a brand new appointment set by Connor for you on March 23rd at 3 p.m.
Love it.
And yep. And then the agent goes on the appointment. They forward that back to us and tell us the details for us to update the CRM, and we're done.
Awesome. So what other systems? So we're talking systems and models. My strength, I should have been on the call yesterday for mindset. Steph's strength is system. But actually, I was thinking about systems because I'm old. So I've been through the shift in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. Like I've been through 100 million shifts. The system for us that you may want to start, that was most helpful during the last shift, that you may want to start thinking about now, even though it's a little bit early to be thinking about it, is what is your price reduction system? Do you have a system that's going to prompt your clients to ask you for price reductions versus you having to call them and ask them for price reductions? Now, maybe we won't need it. Maybe the market's going to bound back and all of that, but I would be prepared for that. So what does that look like? That looks like over communicating, making sure you know the disc profiles of your clients so that you're giving them what they need. Are they an engineer type that needs all the comps, that needs all the details, and you need to send an automatic CMA by email every week? Are they the person that needs the phone call, like bottom line to sell your house, you need to reduce it 50,000? Like, what are those systems of communication? So I would put those into place right now and start thinking about that. That would be that's my contribution to systems today.
I love that. Oh, go ahead, Steph.
I was going to say the other thing that we have found absolutely invaluable at this time is our numbers tracking.
Oh, yeah.
We have a pulse on exactly what our numbers are, how many appointments are cut, and the leading indicators are what are the leading indicators telling us, because there's so much information overload out there from everywhere about what's going on. I had to like bow out. I just had to bow out and just say, I'm going with my numbers. What do my numbers tell me right now is happening?
And here's the thing, what I'm discovering is a lot of people don't know what their numbers are. They know what they are this year, or they know what they are since they've been in coaching, but maybe they weren't in coaching a year ago and they don't know what their numbers were last year. So we weren't tracking our appointments last year, or we weren't tracking our conversion rates. So if you don't know those, pull up your MLS in the areas that you do business and compare yourself at least to the MLS, or compare yourself to your office or your market center. So you can see how, are you trending up? Are you trending down? Or what percentage are you trending down? How fast are you trending down? So that you can make those adjustments.
You can also use your market center's numbers and stats for yourself, right? If your numbers and stats aren't looking great, just say our office, my office has done this much business in the last 7 days, right? As your marketing pieces. Cost per lead. Your cost per lead right now too, going back to what Stephanie was saying, those numbers are tracking. It's our responsibility to know what our cost per lead. If you're still doing pay per click, if you're still doing CPC, you need to know how much that's costing you right now. What's working, what's not working, right?
Yep.
And then, oh, go ahead, Christy. Did you have something
I
else?
was just going to say on the numbers thing, it reminds me of just a question that's been coming up a lot in coaching this week, which isn't necessarily a system, but it really kind of is a system. Everything we do, we want to think around it. What is our system around this? So as we're talking, and I know you guys did a call earlier this week about cutting expenses, I'm starting to get the question. So last week, people started kind of cutting expenses, and now I'm getting the question, well, how much should we cut, or how often should we cut? And I'm telling people it's like back in the days of voting in Boston: cut early, cut often, except now we're going to cut early, cut often, and cut deep. So don't wait. If you can cut it now. Don't wait. So I've had a couple people, I had somebody earlier this week who had cut expenses last week, and we talked about it again. And at the end of the day, she messaged me this week. She's now cut $37,000 annually. She basically just saved her job, right? So if we can all do that, like, why wait? If our businesses can afford to cut that, cut it. So the system, it then comes in. If you waited all this time and you had $37,000 sitting in your budget, why didn't you cut it before? What was your system to look at your numbers before? Do you have a regular appointment with your agent once a week? Are you giving them a bullet pointed memo? Like, what does that look like? We should be looking at our money more frequently now than we were before.
Well, and I'll add to that, guys, as ops people, and then I'm sure Christy as a business owner can support me on this. I'm looking at every single one of my salaries and I'm saying, are they bringing that salary and value right now to the business? And if they're not, we're going to start having some tough conversations. And I don't mean to be ugly with that. It's just, I owe it to my team members that are working 10, 12-hour days and are putting it all in right now to get us through this. And those that aren't, I'm sorry, like, you're probably going to make more collecting unemployment right now than I'm going to be able to pay you if we continue the way we're going. And those are the hard conversations that are coming. We're beyond the point of just cutting the subscriptions and cutting these, we're on the third round, and the third round is people. It's just the reality of what it is.
So I would totally echo that. I'm glad you brought that up, Brindley, because I think it's a really important topic. And I think it's a topic people are scared about losing jobs.
Yeah.
Because I'm literally getting texts daily from people that I know around the country saying, I'm looking for a job now. I want to challenge everybody, and I think we've talked about this already. I've seen it across the waves, but I'm challenging all of my coaching clients to a 5-5-5. Every single day, pick up the phone and call 5 people. Every single day, text 5 people. Every single day, Facebook message or Instagram message 5 people and just say, hey, how are you doing through all of this? This is called lead generation. And I'm not calling it lead gen because that's like a dirty word for ops. So I'm calling it love gen. Okay. Yeah. We're going to do a love gen challenge, 5-5-5. This is going to do 3 things. This is number 1, it's all hands on deck, right? We're going to ask our agents to double down on lead gen. That's not their comfort zone either. So we're going to jump right in there with them. We're going to lead up from below. Like we're going to show them the way. How awesome is that if you're going to start reporting your numbers? Like, report your numbers with your team that you're doing lead gen. Secondly, it's also going to put you in a good position later in the year. So right now, I'm guessing a lot of people's production is not going to be what they expected it to be. So bonuses may not be what you expect them to be. So why not start planting seeds now that when your friends and family and sphere need help later in the year, they call you and now you've got some referral income coming in. So it's a win-win for everybody.
100%. And those of you that are starting to look at salary, there's kind of a formula that we're finding is put a spreadsheet together and put all of your team members on a spreadsheet, put their salaries, put employee fees, taxes, everything that each employee is costing you, and then rank them. And then the first thing is to go to leadership and your highest paid salaries and ask them what they're willing to do to cut their salary. Is it 10%? Determine a number and ask them to take a reduction in pay by that percentage point. And then go to the next realm and the next realm. And guys, if you're ranking them below, pull out the rank and rate from 30, 60, 90 and follow that. And if you're ranking them below a 7, you need to release them into other opportunities. And on Christy's point, If you are finding admin that are losing their jobs and looking for work, please send them to me. Please send them to me, because we have agents that are looking for leverage. We do have agents who have set their businesses up that during a shift are looking for opportunity because they have cash flow. But cash is king right now, and we have to keep every business we own has to cash flow right now. It has to cash flow.
Yep.
That's the only way that it'll work, right, Chris?
So I'll give you what, Steph, sorry, I'm going to come back to you, but I want to give one more system that maybe you have not thought about. Something that I always did that was really helpful for me. As you can see, I'm super high D. So I have to really work on my communication, because it doesn't come naturally for me to slow down. It doesn't come naturally to talk to the S's and the C's in my world. And so I made a practice always of once a week pulling out any behavioral profiles I had on a different person on my team. So I would pull out their DISC, their ABA, their love languages, strength finders, whatever I had, and I would read about one person every week. Right now, I would accelerate that and read about more than one person a week. But right now we're seeing very extreme behavior. There was a great article that came out this week in Harvard Business Review about the stages of grief, and how that applies to what we're going through with the coronavirus. And we're seeing the stages of grief, people experience them in different orders, for different amounts of time. And we really need to be patient and loving and work on our relationships. So that's a system that you can put into effect to work on your communication, is to pull out those behavioral profiles and read them, so that you have better insight on how to connect with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm the same way, Christy. Like, that's the biggest challenge, right, of our high D, is that we're doers, and yet to slow down and not be reactive, right? Because my emotions can get heightened. It's definitely been a huge lesson in EQ. Does anybody, one more thing. The 5 things of a millionaire real estate agent we talk about: lead gen, lead follow-up, go on appointments, scripts and role play, negotiate contracts. Do you have a digital plan for every single one of those things in your business? Do you have a lead gen plan? Do you have a lead follow-up plan? When we get to appointments, that includes open houses, showings, any type of face-to-face with clients. Go through and sit down and come up with your digital plan for each of those items. It's fascinating. I'm on 2 to 3 calls a day, and I can talk to 4 people in California, and one can tell me, Melissa Oliver yesterday, they're in LA, can tell me they're busier than ever. And then I talk to someone else in LA County, and they're like, the world is ending, it's Armageddon. Right? Like, it's just getting creative and innovative and choosing where you focus. Christy, Steph, are you guys seeing any of that in your calls?
And we're super busy, and I've got teams that I'm coaching that have like laid off their entire staff. And I'm like, I have 15 people on staff, and I haven't laid off one, and I don't plan on laying off one. Like, I'm from the retail industry. I worked 25 or 15 years at Home Depot corporate prior to joining real estate. And the answer to everything is sales. Sales cures everything. So whatever you can do to go get sales, that's what you need to do. And you got to figure out new and innovative ways to go get it right now, because it's not just going to fall in your lap like it has been for the past 5 years.
And if you're in a state where, because there are states that are shut down. We have at least three states that are pretty much shut down. Fill your freaking funnel.
Yes, absolutely. Because you can front load. That's like banking money for July and August. That's what you're doing.
Also, make sure, guys, that you're not taking listings just to take listings for listing's sake, because I've talked to a lot of realtors that have been through the first shift, and where they lost the most money was unsold listings because of the cost up front. So make sure you know your cost per listing right now to take on a listing, and that you're not going to put yourself in a position because we need business, we need business, we need business. We're taking listings just to take listings.
Yeah. And one thing we have found that's been super interesting is we have FSBOs right now reaching out to us. Those people are scared because they're like, oh crap, now what? I needed to sell my house, which is why I listed at FSBO, but now I don't think I can do it on my own. So if you're not calling every FSBO on your team to try and see what you can do to help them right now, then you're doing a big disservice to the team.
So what we're talking about is motivation becomes really important, and really keying in. I apologize, that's my dog working from home. One of the things system-wise that you may want to do is revise your seller and buyer intake forms to ask people about motivation. Why are you moving? When do you need to move? Those specific questions. The conversations are had with the agent anyway, but there's something about them actually having to fill out a form and tell you that information that's going to give you the information that you need further on.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, that's on our form, and that's why we always had the paper form, because we wanted something right in front of their face so they didn't forget to do the motivation questions. And so it's super important right now to figure out why. I mean, that's part of shift, right? Find the motivated. It's figuring out those people. There's people out there that still have to buy and sell real estate right now. They have to. And so you just have to be the one to get that business.
100%. What else? Anybody on the call? Have you discovered any new innovative systems that you're using that are working? Denise, Mandy, Churchwell, we've got a lot of talent on this call. David.
Stephanie, I just want to take what you were talking about with forms, and I just want to talk about it for a little bit longer. And the reason why is because I think we need to understand that the forms, I've been just on taking in purchase agreements. I haven't used it on hundreds of purchase agreements. I haven't even used it on 1,000 or 2,000. I've used it on thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of transactions. We've been using forms for PAs for a long time as agents submitting it in. But I think we're hearing a lot of that type of stuff, and they're forgetting that the forms can be used for everything. It helps make you more efficient. So what we used it on, and I'm just going to throw out a couple things that we used it on. If an agent wants to go ahead and have an open house done or promoted or whatever, and I know we're not doing those right now, give me a break. I don't want them to leave someone a message on my admin team, and then the admin's got to call them back and go, what time were you thinking? What were you thinking on this? There's the same 5 or 6 questions every single time. If the agent wanted something done, that we had this routine questions every single time, that became a form. So we used it on everything from new PAs, open house requests, listing appointments, price reductions. If an agent wants a price reduction done, they wouldn't call their admin and say, hey, let's do a price reduction. They wouldn't email their admin. They wouldn't text their admin. They go right onto their form. They fill it out. We ask the same 3, 4, 5 questions every single time. So there's going to be a form for everything in your business: price reductions, team events. If someone wanted to do a team event, customer reviews, team ideas. Remember, your team has great ideas. I don't want to wait till next Thursday when the team meeting comes. If they're on fire at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night and they want to fill out a team suggestion form on how we could improve or what great ideas that they've got. Now, the nice thing is that comes into a certain person, so it gets filtered before it gets given to the team rather than blurted out, not well thought processed out in a team meeting. Customer closing requests, all this kind of stuff. The last thing I want to mention is we use them as our phone scripts. Okay, so think about it. When I get on the phone with a customer, if I already have that form sitting in front of me, it makes sure I'm not missing anything when I call that customer, because it's reminding all the things I need to ask them. So we actually used our forms as an actual phone script because it walked me through to make sure I didn't miss a darn thing. Now with that, I'm going to mention one other thing. Become so efficient, because I just had this said recently to me, because I'm real big on customer contact and calling customers. I had someone actually just say, David, calling customers at the level you're talking about is not scalable. Give me a break. Find somewhere else in your business to create efficiencies so that you can buy yourself time back to make real and personal contact with your agents, real and personal contact with your customers, real and personal, meaningful contact with them. Then when I call the customer, that form helps me go ahead and make sure I don't miss a darn thing. The last thing I'm going to mention, and Stephanie, I want to ask you about this.
You said the last thing you mentioned was the last thing you're going to mention. We have a few minutes, so I want to give some other people a chance to jump in. So real quick.
Is anybody using forms and using it from an automation standpoint? I'd like to hear that, because we would use that and use a Zapier, whatever form they filled out, it would take care of another part of our system.
Yeah, Steph mentioned that at the beginning, that they're doing the job form and the PDFs going out, and then everything else is trickling.
And we have stuff updating other things. We have Jots that update other systems automatically through Zap. Yep.
David's going to be our special guest on Monday, and has so many ideas. So we're excited about that. Guys, first time home buyer and first time seller seminars digitally.
Oh, I love that.
Our first one.
Stephanie,
Yeah.
I was going to add to your point about the FSBOs. Our team is killing it right now in FSBOs. And even when they're getting a little bit of deflection, we're firing back with, well, let me tell you how our team has adjusted in these COVID times. So
Yeah.
right now, like, how are you handling any type of showings of your house? We have a virtual solution for you. And we've got 5 talking points that we're using for these FSBOs. And they're really seeing the value in it because they're scared too. And again, they need to sell. So I'm glad that you guys are having success with it as well.
My TCs that are on the call, take an hour a day and call FSBOs for your agents. That's a way for you to get leads for transactions.
And
David,
add
I
value
love
to the
that you
agents.
said- I love that you said making actual calls. I actually had a coaching client yesterday that I said, have you guys finished calling all through your database? And he said, yes, we slide dialed everybody. Like, no, that's not the point. The point is to talk to them.
Oh God.
Oh, you should have cut slide aisle like 2 weeks ago anyway.
Yeah.
Amanda, would you share your 5 talking points for FSBOs?
Yes. And I ripped off and repeated from 5 Doors and the Lucas Howard team. I married the 2 and it's working wonderful for our team. So yeah, absolutely I will.
If you'll put that in the group, that would be awesome. Stephanie, you said you're doing your first home buyer seminar. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We're just planning it. Haley's working on it right now, my marketer. So we had one that we had scheduled for like March 16th or 14th or something that obviously we had to cancel when they said that we couldn't do groups. So she's working on putting together all of our, we have external people that come in. So we have an appraiser, an inspector, insurance company, the title company, and a lender. So we're trying to coordinate getting all of them onto a Zoom call together at the same time to then do a Zoom first time home buyer seminar out to and have people register. So we're working on the logistics of that.
Great point. Guys, your vendors are trying to add value to you as much as you're trying to add value to your clients. You leverage that. Put them on a video, put the accountant on and do a financial seminar online. Everybody's home. You're getting into the weekend. What are you putting out there for your agents? Christy?
You can do the same thing with your clients. You have clients who are financial planners, clients who are attorneys, clients who are, I've seen really cool ones. I don't remember who it was. Somebody's doing like a client night, like a happy hour. They had a comedian. They had like all these people who are in their client base. Like, who are the people that you know? Get them on and help them out too.
I love that. Stephanie, David, Deldy's asking if you could drop some form examples in the group. So I don't have to.
I can just send you the list of things we use forms for. We have 25 different forms we use, electronic job forms. I'll just drop the list of what they are and then
That'd
people can
be
go.
awesome. And then maybe a screenshot of the jot form so that they can just see how to remodel it.
Yep.
What else? What else are people doing? We have about 2 more minutes left.
We were able to switch we have a VIP club in addition to our regular database. So we had an event planned for next Wednesday that was a wine and design. And it was supposed to be wine and cheese. And then we were going to have our stager come in and teach like intro to interior design. And when it got canceled, we switched it. So now it's Wednesday. It's going to be a Zoom meeting. We're dropping off a bottle of wine with a branded label for all of the VIP clients. And then we're actually going to open it up to everybody in our database without the bottle of wine, but we're going to open up to everybody on our database and then open it up to the general public. And the Eventbrite registration has like phone number, email, and name so that way we can actually also use it to add to the database.
Brian Butler just said something similar to me. So that's awesome. They're throwing client parties, digitally client parties. You can also have things delivered to people's houses.
Yeah, one of my clients did a do-it-yourself cookie kit. So they had the same thing. They had the money. Now this means that you have the money in the budget, that you're not taking this out of your reserves, right? So
Yeah.
they had the money in their reserves for a client event this week, and they did do-it-yourself cookie kits that parents and kids could do together while they're home, and it was a huge hit.
That's
and the
awesome.
other thing that we've done that's gotten a lot of really good feedback is we started a community page. So it's not geared around real estate, but it's geared around adding value to people and reaching out to people that need help. So we have almost 700 people in there now. We've had different local businesses come on and we had like a live yoga stream. We've shared all of the live different musicians streaming. On Tuesday, we have a scientist coming on and doing an experiment for the kids. And they have it has a do it at home portion as well. We have a ton of people interacting with book recommendations, show recommendations, and we've been able to help 2 families that got laid off. We had a family of 7, so we were able to do an entire trunk full of groceries for them. And then we had another family that was stuck at home with a sick mother who we were able to get medical supplies and food for. So we're really taking that mind share thing to heart.
Oh, awesome. So I do want to respect everyone's time. Christy, Stephanie, can you tell them before we sign off how they can get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, if they just go to opsbosscoaching.com, there's a great blog post on cutting expenses there. You can also get info on our party in pink Sundays at 2 p.m. We hang out and chill out and have fun. Steph, you want to give your my email is Christy@opsbosscoaching.com. Steph?
And mine, Stephanie @andersonhicks.com.
What I love about these ladies is that they come from contribution. Guys, we are a community right now more than ever, and we can help one another. Stephanie and Christy have been ahead of the curve on this because they've been doing things 2 weeks ago that people are just now talking about today. So they're definitely people that you want to follow to keep you ahead of the curve. So have a great weekend, guys. If you want to do a weekend call, private message me. If not, I'm going to be lead genning all weekend, just like everybody else. So if you need anything, just reach out. Love you guys. Bye.
Have a great day, guys. Bye. Thanks
Thank
for
you.